adaptive thinking. So we're quite used to people in technology having great ideas and then putting them into effect. So we think about the apps that are recently being developed, um, Facebook, Uber, all of those apps. We think of those coming always from tech people. But I think as lawyers, we need, and partly this is what one of our speakers was saying, we need to be thinking about how we use our legal skill and knowledge in a way that's easy and accessible to our potential clients, and how that can embrace technology and be beneficial to us, and not necessarily be scared of thinking about us as individuals going into partnership with other professionals to develop apps and platforms and forums that will take our skill to a much wider audience. I think in England we think we focus very much on our firm and our particular area of skill. Let's think bigger, let's think broader, let's think about who we know, who we can collaborate with, where law meets tech, meets something else, education maybe, and working together with people. So the next, social intelligence. Is that what it says?
Yes, social intelligence.
So again, this comes back to if we're remotely placed from our clients, we have to be able to work in a way that is able to connect with them with the barriers that we have. So although people say it's nice to be meet someone in person, and I totally agree, you want to meet your friends in person and your family in person, but can you still use your social skills through a platform like Zoom? We can be polite, we can establish eye contact, we can introduce humour and a bit of our personality. We can still use that through the medium of Zoom or Skype or whatever it is. And it's just about being adaptable. Cross-cultural competencies. Okay, so understanding that in the future, because of globalization, and lots of people who think because of COVID-19, we're not going to be as global. We will be. Once COVID-19 has a vaccine, we will still be global. We might be global in a slightly different way. So it's about understanding the cultural values and norms of other communities. And where is the world moving in terms of expansion technology? It's moving towards the east. So understanding East Africa, Indian subcontinent as potential areas where our legal skill and knowledge would be useful, and maybe help with training and education. Um, Virtual collaborations again comes back to we don't have to be physically in the same location, town, country, or place as people that we collaborate with. So in our network and the communities that we build, don't just think local, think global. And that goes for people who are in the middle of training. You know, who are the people that you knew at law school? Don't just stick with your little clique. Try to make it as broad as possible. Um, design, design mindset. Does that say?
It says design, yeah, design mindset.
Okay, so a design mindset is your ability to think about how you're going to do tasks and design them in a way that's most effective for you. Just because things have been done in a particular way in the past, think about how could it be more efficient? How could it be more successful? Don't be constrained by the fact that it's been done in a particular way in the past. Doesn't necessarily mean that it has to be built and designed in that way in the future. The next line says
Um,
media.
New media. Um, Forgive me, I was just sending a message. New media literacy.
Okay, so okay, we all know Facebook, we now all know Zoom, we know Instagram, we know LinkedIn, we know Twitter, but they're constantly developing new social medias, and we're not going to know all of them, but we have to move with the time. And as our clients and potential connections move into different social media, we have to become familiar with them. I'll be honest and say, like 5 years ago, I had no LinkedIn account, no Twitter account. I never did Facebook. Why should I? I like to be anonymous. I didn't want my face all over the place. I didn't want to talk to anybody. I just went into the office and did my work and came home. But in the new reality, that is not going to be possible. So, understanding big data, is that it?
Understanding data-based reasoning.
Okay. So these are one of the skills that they think is really important for future lawyers to have. So that goes to the idea that you're going to use more automation and you're going to be using AI. You may not need to be able to program a computer, but you have to understand the principles of how coding works. And again, with big data, you have to understand the broad general principles of how data works in these apps. So not that you have to be an expert in it, but you've got to do those basic training courses so you've got a concept of it. Agile and adaptable, we've dealt with. Is that say intuitive and entrepreneurship? Yes. So,
Initiative and
oh, initiative and entrepreneurial. So, again, this idea that you take opportunities when they present themselves and don't get so tunnel vision that you only see one career path which leads along a set route. You know, in the real world, there will be multiple paths that you can take, and you have to be alert and open to those paths in front of you to make a decision as to which path you take. And then certainty and
curiosity and imagination.
okay, so this has been an exercise in imagination, and I invite you to take your imagination just a little bit further. Don't stop here with, okay, what do I think my life is going to look like in the next 5 years? Start pushing yourself. Do I have the skills that I need for the next 5 years? I'm not just talking about legal skills. Think about those skills you don't have. For me, I struggle with anything to do with tech. I struggle with anything to do with coding. Um, but I've started to get a broad understanding of how these things work. So I've been doing some video editing. I have been doing some audio editing, all of things which I really don't know a lot about, but are quite useful. Written a book, never done that before. It wasn't as difficult as people think. You try to push yourself, be curious, explore. Tasks are often a lot easier than you think they're going to be. And be imaginative, that's really important. Do not set boundaries on yourself and your imagination. That's it from me.
Right,
It has.
brilliant. Thank you, everyone. Great. Well, let's do a virtual clap for Suzanne, please.